I'm Mrs. Jones, and today I'm going to show you how to build a hay infusion culture here at your house, just using everyday household items that you're going to acquire. A hay infusion culture is an aquatic ecosystem in a bottle. Okay, so what I have here, you can see here is one that I set up a week or so ago, and you can see that in this hay infusion culture, we have water, we have a bunch of hay that's been sitting in there a while, and a whole bunch of things that are floating around in there, and I guarantee there's going to be some living things that are in here as well. This is a whole ecosystem. What we're going to be watching for the next few weeks is as you set up your hay infusion culture and look at it every week for the next few weeks, you're going to start to see different kinds of organisms growing in this hay infusion culture. What you're actually observing is an ecological process that we call succession. Now, if you remember from our ecology lesson when we looked at the succession of a community, that starts with, say, for example, a forest fire. And in a forest fire, there's nothing left after the fire goes through, and the very first organisms that grow are going to be your grasses and your small little herbaceous plants. Eventually, there's going to be shrubs that will grow, and then some little seedlings for trees. As the trees grow, they shade out the shrubs. As more trees grow, they shade out those trees. Eventually, you get to the end, where we would call this, at that point, a climax community where it would stay for a long time. So what we're going to be observing here in this particular activity for our class is aquatic ecosystem succession, where we're going to start at first with looking at the organisms that grow first, which are going to be our bacteria and our archaea. Eventually, as those proliferate in our hay infusion, eukaryotic single-celled organisms that are protozoans are going to begin to grow. And those are the ones we'll actually be able to see with our microscope. So I'm going to show you how to build a hay infusion culture. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to start with some hay. Now, as you can see here, this is alfalfa, but you could get just any kind of dried grass, even living grass that's in your backyard or at the park or anything by the side of the road. You're just going to cut some of those plants and bring them back to your house. And what you're going to do is you're going to need just a handful, about a cup. So you can just take some scissors here and just kind of cut it up into some small little pieces like this until you have about a cup of dried grass material, okay? And this is what we're going to use for our hay infusion culture, okay? Then you're going to take a 2-liter bottle. Make sure that it's clear because we do want the sunshine to come through so the photosynthetic organisms have some light to grow. You're going to rinse it out in the sink. Just get it all nice and clear out like this. And then you're going to take a sharp knife or something like a screwdriver or something with a sharp point and just kind of poke a hole in the side of the container like that, okay? If you're going to use a knife, of course, be very careful. Set that aside then and use your scissors for the rest of it. I'm just going to take and I'm going to cut the top off of this 2-liter bottle like this. And then you can just kind of clear off these edges like that. This is going to be where your hay infusion culture is going to be. Then you're going to take the grass, again, just a handful of grass, not a lot. Put it into your jar, and you're just going to fill it up with spring water. Now, one of the things you could use is just water from a pond or from a creek or something near your house, but I just have spring water, so I'm just going to fill this up with spring water. And as the hay infusion culture goes by, as time goes by, some of the water may evaporate, so you want to keep just a little jar of some spring water handy. You don't want to use water from your sink because it has chlorine in it, and that could kill these microbes that we're trying to grow. So as you can see right here, it's just that simple. You're just going to set it up and put it in a place somewhere where it's not too hot, somewhere where the light isn't too bright, but it's definitely going to get some indirect lighting. And you're going to just watch it. Over the next several weeks, each week, what I want you to do is bring in a sample of the organisms that are in there. Now, how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to get a pipette, and all you're going to do is just put this in here, and you're going to squeeze some samples and put it into a little vial. I'll give you the pipette, I'll give you the vial. Bring the vial into class, and when you come into class, we'll look at what you've got in the microscope. If you want to as well, one of the things that might help the microbes grow is for you to add a drop of milk. That's it, just one drop. So again, use your pipette, put one drop of milk in there. I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but it's going to give the microbes just a little bit of food. These are really, really tiny organisms, and they don't need a lot to eat on. But as they live and grow and multiply, they're going to begin to eat the grass and the hay that's in there, and they'll feed on the sugars that are in that milk as well. I will warn you that over time, it may begin to smell a little bit. If that happens, that's completely normal, but you may just want to set it on your back porch so that it doesn't bother anybody. If you have any questions, be sure and ask me in class.